All right, what's up, everyone? I'm gonna be going over a interview with one of my clients or students, however you want to call it. This is Eric. What's up, Eric? We're gonna be going over what he thought about working with me and the Rent to Riches program, and get his honest opinion, honest feedback on everything, just to see what he thought, and hopefully y'all enjoy, and hopefully this helps and answers some questions that y'all might have. So before I dive into this and before I start asking you some questions and stuff like that, I just want to make sure that this is, fully honest, genuine. I'm not giving you anything for this. I'm not paying you anything for this. You're not getting any benefit out of this. Just so before I dive into this, people don't think that, for whatever reason, that you might be incentivized or any way, shape, or form of doing this.
For sure. Yeah, that's good. Always good to clear it out there.
Yeah. So just to confirm, you're not getting incentivized or anything for any of this.
Nah, bro.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So the first question that I want to ask you is tell me a little bit about yourself and where you were before working with me and before joining the Rent to Riches program.
Yeah, bro. I was working a ton of jobs, just bounced from job to job. When I first started in the program, I was doing a welding job full time. Um, Main thing I was wanting to get, even in the online business, especially this model, was just the time freedom was everything. To give a little context, I know Steven knows this, but I was working like swing shift, so like 2:30 in the morning. So it was making
Mm-hmm.
okay money, but everything else around it was just horrible. Health. I didn't get to see a lot of people, like my family, very much. So, but yeah, that was kind of my starting point, if you will.
Got you. Got you. And what was like your biggest struggle, either financially, mentally, both?
Between the two, honestly, was just part of it was like making time for other things outside of just working.
Mm-hmm.
Because my whole sleep schedule was so messed up. Just trying to, find some time to do anything really with family, friends, things of that nature. So yeah, that was the biggest one starting out for sure.
Got you. Got you. And how did you find me? And like, what made you actually want to pull the trigger on this and work with me? And like what convinced you that this was the real deal and not just some, online program or online course
Yeah,
that you were joining?
I hear ya. Honestly, I saw you, I think, off Instagram. I think when I hopped on with a team member, it was super genuine. Conversation was really good, actually, from a place of wanting to help. I will say this too, like before, at the beginning as well, I still am a little bit. I was in the kind of online info space, so I've seen
Mhm.
my own fair share of good and bad mentors. So it was really good to see like actual student results before even thinking about working with you. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you got up and going like pretty quickly. Like talk to me a little bit about the process and like once you got started and then, getting into like your business funding and stuff like that. Um, yeah, just like explain like that process and how it was for you, and how it came to be of getting like the funds to start the business, getting your first property, launching it, like all of that, the team's help and everything involved. Like let me know how that process went and like what you thought about it and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, it was super straightforward. Obviously, we set it up through you with the funding to get everything started. It was pretty much just shooting over a DM, and I was kind of just your team was just holding my hand throughout the entire process, just letting me know how things were going. So that was super helpful. But yeah, it just made it super just dumbed down and simplified to get started.
Got you. So you joined, we got your LLC set up, we got everything structured, we got your business checking accounts. And then my team actually went along and set up your 0% interest business credit cards for you.
Mm,
You went ahead and then used that to set up your properties to pay for the rent, the expenses, the furniture, the interior design, everything. Uh, and the interior design, the furniture, the setup, and everything was all done for you by my team. So um, we were able to order that furniture for you. We were able to take the team out, set the property up for you, launch it for you, and then we went into getting automations and everything like that. And you used your 0% interest funds to pay for all of that. Um, and actually, recently, you just launched your first property. And I'm looking at it right now. You ended up actually getting an almost $19,000 booking,
Yeah,
$18,942.64. Uh, and your first, you haven't even had it live for a month, right?
just about,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. And how was that? Like how did that make you feel? Like getting almost $19,000 booking, launching your first property. Walk me through like how that process went, and like how that made you feel.
It was pretty crazy. Like I wasn't even expecting at first. Like we had a few like small bookings before that. But just seeing something like that, I was like, holy shit, pretty much looking at it. I remember texting you right away. I was like, this is nuts. Yeah, it was a crazy experience to, it was especially because starting out, we had a lot of road bumps. In like the first process of getting everything set up. But I mean,
Mm.
you and the community were there the whole way. And, I asked a ton of questions to everybody I could, and it's been super helpful throughout the whole process.
Yeah, love to hear that. Love to hear that. And you said you got a few. I remember you got a few bookings before you got this one,
Mm.
and now you've been like a full month in, um, and you're like just short of like $30,000 in like your first month, in with that property like actually officially live, right?
Yeah, just about.
Love to hear that. Love to hear that. Now, what would you say? Like, how would you expect your life like moving forward now? Like, how do you think this is going to progress, and as far as how it's going to change your life and make it different, as far as like freedom, income, stress levels, stuff like that?
Yeah, 100%. I definitely think operating from a place of more abundance now, I can,
Hmm.
not operate from a place of like scarcity like I was before starting, definitely. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, just continue to scale the business, obviously be able to, be in the position to be able to give back more to my family as well. They don't even know I'm doing it. This is crazy. Um, but yeah, man, I'm super excited for that, just to be able to give back. And also the person I'm working with, Brandon, who help with this deal as well. Super big shout out. But yeah, so excited for that.
yeah, love to hear that. Love to hear that. Yeah, so actually through our community, Eric was getting this property launched and getting it set up. And we had another student in the community that was actually just got his 0% interest business funds through the team as well. And they ended up partnering and working together so that they could scale faster. And then obviously getting, second, third, fourth property, so on and so forth. Now, what would you say to people that that are considering getting into this, or what would you say to people that think this might be risky or expensive? Um, and did you feel that way at first? Like, what changed your mind, and like, what would you say to the people that maybe thought that way?
I think honestly, like just how responsive you were and seeing like actual student results as well. I think when we were first getting launched up, I'm trying to remember. I think it was literally like during your wedding, and you were still
Hmm.
responding to me at like a pretty decent time, which was totally unexpected. But it really goes to show like you actually work with us, like you're literally working with me like one on one versus just kind of like, oh, here's this, and then not talking to me ever again. So super appreciative of that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it was
like actually
it was
having a
super
mentor
funny
being
during
like,
that time.
yeah, and just giving me
Super
the
funny.
advice I need to just implement everything as fast as possible, which is huge for me. But yeah,
Got you. Yeah, I'd love to hear that. Yeah, it was pretty funny during that time when we had our wedding and stuff like that. I was traveling a lot, and people, not just you, but people were reaching out to me,
yeah,
text, answering questions, phone calls, Zoom calls, stuff like that, and people were like asking me questions, and I would respond like right away, and they're like, "Oh, look, bro, I didn't expect you to respond like right away. I know it's your wedding. Like, take time to have your wedding. Like, worry about answering my questions tomorrow or whatever." And I was like, "No, I'll just get this taken care of now. I want to make sure that I put you in the best position, and every single person that I work with in the best position possible to succeed. Especially if they're a person like yourself that's willing to put in the work, willing to do their due diligence, and just someone that's willing to do whatever it takes to succeed. Um, because obviously, regardless, I'm going to do my job, and I'm going to do my best to mentor you and working with you one on one to make sure that you succeed. But it definitely goes a long way, and it makes my job a lot more fun, more fulfilling, and a lot easier when I'm working with someone that I know is putting in the same level of effort. If I'm giving them 100% and they're responding with 100, 110, 120%, then it makes it a lot easier on my end because I know that the person that I'm working with, I can trust that, they're going to do well with their business. They're going to do whatever it takes to succeed. Now, what would you say to someone that, wants to start a business and they have the saying that where they're like, I'm too busy to start or whatever it is. Like, how did you make it work with everything else that you had going on in your life? And would you say there's any level of being too busy for this?
I personally, in my opinion, I don't think so at all. I just to give context, like I said earlier, like I started this while working full time, still working outside of it to help stack cash to put back into the business. But yeah, like I know you started this. I think what you were working 90 hours a week in the Navy, right?
Yeah.
Like out of the back of your truck. So
Yeah.
um, it's really what's more important, treating this as a business versus just like a side hustle. Applying that kind of pressure to it is
Mhm.
kind of the biggest thing in my opinion. But yeah,
Got you. And what do you think is like the number one thing holding most people back from like success? Not in this, not like just in this, but like any business. But obviously, like particularly in this, like what is the number one thing holding people back from success? And what do you wish like someone told you like before you started, or maybe you didn't have something someone wished? Because hopefully, I was transparent and clear enough to help push you forward. But what do you think is like the number one thing like holding most people back from like success in this?
I feel like I feel like fear, man. I had to overcome a lot myself because I invested into previous mentors in the past who didn't fulfill on their end. So it
Mm,
was definitely a little bit scary starting out. But honestly, I think the biggest thing that from working with you, I can't remember what call it was. I think it was a group call a while ago.
mhm.
But I think you were saying something along the lines of like it's better to take messy action and fail and like fix your mistakes versus just trying to wait for like the perfect moment. So I just
Yeah.
took that and completely ran with it and just problem solved along the way. But yeah,
Yeah, it's always better to take imperfect action if imperfect action means that you will be starting faster. Because the difference between someone that's willing to take imperfect action and start immediately versus someone that's trying to have the perfect plan and have all the questions answered before starting. That, by the way, you won't ever know all the questions that you need to ask. So there's no use in like trying to ask a million questions and get them answered before you start it, because the person that will start immediately with imperfect action, by the time that they've had, four failures or they've had a bunch of questions or issues come up, they've already overcome those and learned how to fix them and succeeded from them before the other person has even started. And by the time the other person does start, if they ever start, the person that started faster with imperfect action has already become more confident, faster, stronger in uh, every sector and every aspect because they understand what to do through doing it, not just because at the end of the day, there's only so much that you can learn without actually doing the thing. I always give the example of if someone was a wide receiver, you could have the best wide receiver coach in the world teaching a person that's never been a wide receiver how to be the best wide receiver in the world. But no matter how much you teach them, no matter how much strategies, techniques, tools, resources, whatever they have, they will never be the best without ever doing the thing, because you have to get that muscle memory and you have to get that experience doing the things, because obviously that'll stick in your mind and in your brain for the next time you have to push through something or overcome something. And something that really decides whether someone will be like extremely successful or not is their ability to fail quickly. And what I mean by that is overcoming failure, like being able to move really fast without being scared of failing. Because the faster that you can fail, the faster you can learn from that failure, and the faster you can use that learning opportunity to push yourself forward. And honestly, just build a stack of undeniable proof behind you for yourself and for your confidence to allow you to succeed at a much higher level. Now, last question I got for you is if someone was wanting to work with me or start like in this business, like if someone was on the fence about joining, what do you think they would need to hear like right now? Like what would you say to them if they were sitting right in front of you?
I'd say it's a pretty good point that you kind of brought up earlier. Like money loves speed. In my opinion, too, like especially the business like this where you are putting whether it's business credit or your own personal capital, I wouldn't recommend it without a mentor just because honestly, you'll probably get a better ROI. Just kind of essentially not trying to reinvent the wheel, just replicate what someone else has already done versus trying to learn it the whole time. You can just be implementing. So it's really the cost opportunity for me. That's what I would personally recommend to anyone like listening. But yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, 100%. I'd have to agree with that as well. I think it's always good to invest into a mentor. Uh, Obviously, a mentor that has, proven results and time tested, all of that, not just buying anything from anyone online, especially if it's just some like cookie cutter course they're throwing at you
Yeah.
and not responding to you, texting you, messaging you, take some days or freaking 12 hours to respond to you or something. That's not very effective or efficient at all. But yeah, I would have to say that it always comes down to ROI. Unfortunately, the average person looks at whether something's expensive or cheap by just looking at the front end cost of things. But at the end of the day, what decides whether something is expensive or cheap is the ROI on it. Because if something's $100,000, the average person just assumes it's expensive because it's a six-figure investment or whatever it is. But because it's $100,000, that doesn't necessarily make that thing expensive. Because if you're buying something for $100,000 or $20,000, $50,000, whatever it may be, and say it is $100,000 and it ends up making you, $500,000, $1 million, obviously that's an incredible investment, and that makes that investment incredibly cheap because you 5x, 10x your investment versus if you're buying something for $10, just because it's $10 does not necessarily make it cheap either, just because it's a low number, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all just numbers. It's just text on a screen. And if you're buying something for $10 and it costs you, like you end up not making any money from it, and it ends up just costing you $10, and you end up having to spend more money to get the result that you wanted. Obviously, that $10 was not cheap. It was very expensive because there was no return or there was no ROI on that investment. So, yeah. Is there anything that you wanted to say to anyone that might be watching or anyone that's considering rental arbitrage or working with me or anything like that? Anything that you wanted to comment, mention, anything like that?
Yeah, I'd say honestly, like obviously you're right. If you're gonna work with it, obviously do your due diligence, like you mentioned, but don't be afraid to invest in yourself. That's something that's super congruent too. Because I remember, I think you and I were chatting like a while ago, and you said I don't remember how much you invest in your own like mentors as well, but I know it was a crazy number as well. Um, but yeah, so it's good to not only learn from someone who actually like works closely with their students, but also as you have mentors yourself, you're always continuously learning. So that's going to trickle down into students like me or whoever may be watching this if they do end up deciding to work with you. But yeah, that's what I guess the last little message out there.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. It's always important to practice what you preach. And I don't even want to know the exact number of amount that I've invested in education, skills, mentorship, stuff like that. It's probably at this point getting close up around definitely over $500,000 as far as what I've invested over the time. And yeah, it definitely trickles down to, people that I work with and my clients and, my mentees and students, whatever you want to put a name on the term. And I definitely think it's obviously beneficial to me because I learn the things, but it's extremely beneficial to them because they get access to the knowledge that I required. But other than that, brother, I appreciate your time. I'll talk to you soon. I'll let you go. If y'all appreciated this, if y'all had any comments, questions, concerns, feel free to drop them down in the comment section down below. Other than that, if you enjoyed this type of content or any of my other type of content, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe. But other than that, guys, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.